Right, so we are in Revelations today, Revelations 22, and it says, "Then the angel showed me the river, the water of life, as clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb down the middle of the street, great street of the city. On each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every day, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. No longer will there be a curse. The throne of God and of the Lamb will be in the city, and his servants will serve him. They will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads. There will be no more night. There will be no need the light of the lamp or the light of the sun, for the Lord will give them light, and they will reign forever and ever." So I'm going to look at the bit about the tree. Recently I've read this, and then I've read the beginning of Genesis, and the two things are connected. So God's saying at the coming of the new heaven and earth, heaven on earth, there will be a tree, and the leaves of the tree will be for healing, and there'll be no more pain. And yeah, when Jesus comes back to the earth, and it goes on in the passage to talk about Jesus coming back. So what I've done is we're going to use minimum supplies. You don't have to use the same supplies as me. So I'm in my NIV Bible. This is the one that comes with either the black hardcover or the pink or light blue one with dots on. This one has had a new cover because it grew out of its black hard one. And because we're at the end of the Bible, I've just put underneath it a couple of books, and then to stop this page flipping up, I've taped it down with some washi tape, and just some cheap washi tape from B&M Bargains. We're going to use a stamp set. This is from Amazon. If I can find the link, I'll link it down in the description. And these stamps are really nice because they come in their own little pockets that you can put in a binder if you want to. But I particularly like this one because it's got the tree and all the different leaves and all kinds of things. It's very versatile, and I like to buy stamps that will do lots of things. I've got 3 greens. I'm just using Distress Oxides, but you can use anything you want. Blacking for the outline of the tree. I'm using StazOn, and because it's on the last page of the Bible, StazOn will normally go through, but because it's the last page, it doesn't matter. I'm using 4 colours of pencil. I'm using 2 blues, a light blue and a dark blue, and 2 browns, a light blue and a dark blue. These are Prismacolors, but again, you can use what you like. And I've got 2 stamping blocks, one for the big tree and one for the leaves. And I've got my cup of tea, which is about the 6th one I've made today, and I keep leaving them, so I'm determined I'm going to drink that one. So depending on what Bible you've got, it depends on how much space you've got here and whether you've got an objection to going over your words or not. This is not my reading Bible. I have 2 journaling Bibles which I put artwork in, and they help me connect with God. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tree off. I'm going to put him on my big block. I'm going to get my StazOn ink. So if you've never used StazOn ink before, it's permanent, it's solvent based, so it does have a bit of a smell. It smells like almonds. So if you're a bit funny with smells, probably not the ink for you. Because we're not adding any water, it doesn't have to be a waterproof ink. This one's a waterproof ink. Now I'm adding the pad to the stamp, and because these blocks are clear, you can see where you're stamping. So I'm going to stamp right in this bottom corner, and I'm going to press down, and I'm going to give it a few minutes for the ink to transfer, sorry, a few seconds, and I'm going to lift it up. There we are. Now it's not stamped perfect, so I'm going to have another go. Now sometimes when you do this, it can be a bit tricky, and it can lead to a double picture, but let's give it a go. And it doesn't matter because the top bit's going to be covered in. Going to be covered in, what do you call it? Going to be covered in crayon. Oh, that's going to be alright. I'm happy with that. I don't mind it being a bit double exposure. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 crayons, and I'm going to colour it all in the light colour first. Now, pencil crayons is something we will have all used from being quite small. I like these ones because they're nice and soft. They're a wax-based crayon, not as in a Crayola crayon like we had when we were children. but as in they're really, the lead is made of a waxy based substance. I'm not quite sure what it is, but they're lovely to use. The only thing is, because they're so soft, you end up with them breaking, and this one was breaking loads this morning. So a tip that I got from another YouTuber actually, called Foodle Crafter, was to pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds, and that seems to do the trick. It must melt the core again and bring it back together. Now all I'm doing, because I've got a double image here, is just colouring both of them, and actually you'll find when we're finished you won't see it. So we're going to colour the whole image with a light colour first. I like to add the light colour, then add the dark for a bit of variation, and then blend with the light. There we are. I like to keep the end nice and sharp. I like to use a mechanical sharpener or one of these cum sharpeners with my Prismacolor, because they do break very easily. One thing I would give you a bit of advice on, if you are, whichever pencil crayons you're using, try and turn the sharpener and not the pencil. I know as kids we all turn the pencil, but actually it's less stress on the pencil to turn the sharpener, which is something I discovered recently. And if you look at electrical ones, you hold the pencil still and the blade moves around. So we're nearly done with the light colour. I'm not being particularly neat. Then I'm going to just add the dark shade. So I'm going darker at the edges, then I'm going to add it to one side of each branch just to give it a little bit of light and shade. So it just makes it look a bit more 3D. So when this is finished you won't see the top bit so well. Now I'm going to use the lighter one just to help blend it a little bit. Just add a bit more here, give it a bit more depth. I'm not overly worried about the branches. So maybe a bit more on that one and that one. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to put this one away. Now the only other thing that you might want is a pencil, or a cup of tea of course. Now in the reading it talks about the tree of life being both sides of the river. I'm not going to try and illustrate that. I want to keep it really simple, and I've just drawn a very simple river that's going to disappear off the page. Sharpen my pencil up, and I'm going to use the side of my pencil like this because I'll get better coverage. Now because underneath this page is glued to the back of my new cover, so I'm going to get a little bit of texture from where it's been glued down, which I'm not that worried about, to be fair. So the dark colour first, the light colour first rather, and I'm going to grab the dark colour. It's up to you what shade you use, and I'm going to first of all put a little bit of dark near the bank on either side, kind of give it an edge like so. And then I'm just putting in a few shadows. Now obviously under the tree will be darker, so I'm kind of putting a tree shape in under the tree, and then the rest will be lighter. So I'm going to do another layer of pencil over the top. Now I didn't want to get fancy with this one. I love working in pencil crayons, I love working in lots of different media, but because I wanted to keep this to minimum supplies. I'm not going to go and start using a blending stump or oils or anything else to that effect. All I'm going to do is keep it to the materials that we've talked about. And I'm just going to add a little bit of brown to represent the bank, and it'll give it a nice edge, because the grass never goes up to the edge. That was the dark brown, and I'm just adding a tiny bit of the light brown as well, just to give the river a bit of an edge. My tape's coming up, so I'm just going to pop a bit more here just to keep it down while I'm working on it. So I've finished using that stamp, so I'm going to put that one out of the way. Now on this stamp set we've got a various different leaf patterns. If I turn it over you'll be able to see the print out of it. Just grab something white, there we are, look, so you can see. And this white brand, it has a tree, different leaves, there's a squirrel, an apple, a silhouette of a bird, which looks like an owl sitting a swing, little flowers, a nest. So it's lots more versatile. You use it for lots of things. It'd be great if you're a card maker as well. So I'm just going to use one set of leaves to start with. I'm going to use the set that's like that. So I'm using this set. Put that out of the way. I'm going to use my small stamp set. I'm just going to put the lid back on my black. I'm going to take the lids off my 3 greens. Now you could do it with, get away with 2 greens, it's up to you. Just got a little bit of a blob there on my stamp pad. You can use any inks you like. I just like these Distress Oxides, and I'm just going to go for random colours as we go. So the idea is that you're putting on different colours, because it said there's 12 different fruits. We're not going to go for 12 different colours on this tree, for one for each month. But the idea is we're just showing that there are lots of different varieties there. Now, as I say, it doesn't bother me that it covers the text, because this isn't my reading Bible, it's my journaling Bible. So I'm doing more than one stamp, so I've got kind of a ghost colour and then the darker colour. I'm just building up different layers of colour, and as I said to you originally, it actually doesn't really make any difference that there was a little double print in there. Remember, we're not in it for perfection. We're in it to meet with the word of God, to connect with God. Now I've just put a little bit of shadow using this dark brown, which is almost black, in the water, but mixed with this blue it does look black. Give the idea that underneath the tree it's a little bit shadowy. Just grabbing a little bit more blue. Now this is a promise. This is a promise. Jesus came back with this promise that he would come back to us. When he left, he said, I will come back and make a new heaven and a new earth. And if you read Revelations, which a lot of people, me included, avoid often, this last chapter in particular talks about Jesus coming back, the fact that the curse that God put on us will be no more. So that's when he sent Adam out of the Garden of Eden. So it's an amazing piece of scripture, really. So I've finished my tree, and I'm gonna, in this set here, there is a little set of flowers. Now, because I don't want to use any more crayons, I'm going to use the flowers as grass. So I'm just printing flowers around the field area. So I'm starting with the same colour. I'm going to keep a little bit of a gap away from the, now here you can see where I've actually caught my stamp. So I've messed my Bible a little bit there, but I'm not precious. I'll just lead itself to whatever's next on that next page. But the dark green. I'm using the ghost prints. I'm printing more than once. So you get my first colour and then you get don't want to go too much on that side because I don't want it to connect with a tree colour really. Keep the colours light there. And because the my crayons are quite waxy, you can't stamp on top of it really, so you end up actually being able to avoid turning your tree green. So there we are. So what I might just do here is just kind of slightly separate with a suggestion around here, so that that's a little bit different to that under there, and there would be a little bit of a shadow anyway from the tree, so let's go for putting that shadow in, and that will definitely separate. Go dark blue. Separate the tree from the separate the tree from the actual grass. If you wanted to pop one of the other creatures in, so maybe we'd like to have an owl in there. I'm just going to wipe my stamp where I've caught it on the pad. There. So I've picked the owl up, and I go back to my black, because remember we're using minimum. No, I haven't used this stamp before, so I'm just going to stamp it off onto a piece of paper first. That's it. And I think we'll put him there. And then I think we'll add the other little bird, maybe the nest. So let's find the nest. The nest is here. The nest has been used before, so it should stamp all right. Pop that there, I think. And the last thing I'm going to do is add a little, not that one, let's look for the little bird that's in here and find him. This one. That one. Again, this one hasn't been stamped before, so I'm just going to bring my scrap paper back in. Yay! I'm going to stamp him just here. And I'm going to stamp it in my text there. And one last thing, I can't resist the little squirrel. So again, the squirrel hasn't been stamped before, so I'm just going to stamp him off a couple of times. I'm going to put the squirrel down here. Okay. So that's Revelation 22, 1 to 5 for you today.